So today we're working on a 2001 Sportster Hugger 883. So I've already disassembled everything down to the base gaskets. As you can see, I've got jugs here and pistons and whatnot. So I've got some old pistons here that I'm going to clean up, and we're going to check the ring gap and all that fun stuff. Huge shout out to Uncaged Cycles for letting us use one of their lifts today. It makes the job so much easier if you guys have a lift. I mean, it allows you to work standing up and not having to bend over all the time. We also love it because it's super clean here. And so all the parts are cleaned. We're going to be going through that a little bit. We got to clean up our pistons a little bit. So we're going to do that, and we'll get back with you guys. So one of the things that I always do is I mark all my parts. So this is the rear cylinder piston. So what I do is I take a little marker and I put an R on it. That way we know it's the rear, not the front. As you can tell, there's a lot of carbon buildup on it. The way you can usually tell which one's front cylinder and which one's rear cylinder is carbon buildup. So you can tell that these pistons were put in at the same time, so we know they've had the same amount of stress, but the front cylinder usually runs a little bit colder, so it runs a little bit better, whereas the rear cylinder, well, it's a little bit hotter because it's behind that front cylinder. So we're going to go ahead and clean these off. The way I do it is I put on my safety glasses first off. Gotta have these guys on, otherwise you're going to get some carbon in your eyes. Trust me, you will, if you do it enough. So, you can see a little bit more clean. So one of the big things is, as you can tell, I only did it to the top of this piston. Do not do it on the side of the piston. These skirts have a special coating on them. You can see the black. Yes, that looks like carbon. Some of it is, not all of it. Most of it is this Teflon coating that goes over the piston. That helps for keeping them cool, A, keeping them lubricated, B, and C, it also helps them wear less. So if you take the brass brush to this side, you're going to take all that off, and you're probably not going to run very long, to be honest, because your piston's going to get too hot. It's going to probably seize on you eventually. In reality, you don't have to get inside the grooves here. I like to because I like my details. So I'm going to go get a different brass brush and clean those out. Because like I said, cleanliness is one of the top things when you're working inside a motor. You want to make sure everything's good, because you don't want to have to take your motor apart again in 5,000 miles because you didn't do one thing. You might as well do it all while you're there. So as you can tell, I took the brass brush, just a little guy, on a drill, and I do it at slow speed, because you're not really trying to. So obviously brass can still damage the steel, but if you're doing it nice and lightly, it's just fine for the steel. So you're okay to just, and I can, even with this smaller guy, I'm going to clean up this area a little bit better. So I mean, as you can tell, just super lightly. You don't want to go heavy on it. Again, you're just trying to knock the loose carbon off. I'm reusing pistons, so in reality, if I wanted them perfect, I'd get new pistons. Simple as that. So, but otherwise, these guys are just fine. So, easy enough. Alright, so, as you can see, there's a little ring right in there. I'm putting my screwdriver behind it there. And so that little ring has to come out of there. These are off my old pistons, so I'm taking these rings, putting them on my new pistons. Again, go with new ones. You shouldn't reuse them, but I am. So you just kind of get up underneath there, and one of the key things with these guys is you really gotta be careful once you do get them out like that, because they are really, really tight in there. And when you're doing it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But these suckers, when I was going to school, the notable time was we were pulling circlips out of the piston pins, and one kid was doing it, and he didn't have his finger on it very well. And what ended up happening was this sucker went ding, and it literally shot about 30 feet across the room and hit somebody in the head. Obviously, it didn't hurt the person, but if you were standing right next to it and it hit your eyeball, yes, it could easily poke your eyeball out. So, probably should be wearing safety glasses, keep your fingers on it, get new ones. Those are the 3 main keys. So, alright, so I got Skylar pulling that other one out. So one thing to note on these is when pulling them out, so you're going to have them inside here like that, and usually people sit them like that.
I'll just let you do it. I don't know what I'm doing.
So that groove, I'll help you out here in a second. This groove here, you want to pry as close to this opening as you can. That way, it's the least amount of tension on there.
Should I pull from the underneath?
No. You're gonna be prying straight down, pry straight down on it, and then pry out. But that was clever for you. Oh, that's gonna fling everywhere. There you go.
Hey, there we go.
See? Got it.
Cool.
Pretty simple and easy. So,
Cool.
So, see what I was talking about with that skirt? You can see bare metal there. That guy's done for. That's not what you want to see. You want to see this black here. So, I don't even know if you can see that on camera. But, no, you can. So, you want to see this black. You don't want to see the bare metal. You've got your wrist pin here. So, one of the things I'm doing is I'm taking my fingernail across it, because we are reusing this one again. Again, I recommend brand new. Can't express that enough. Brand new. But I'm broke, so I don't get brand new. And so yeah, it feels pretty good. I'm just running my fingernail across it to see if there's any catches. If you feel any catches, then you definitely cannot reuse it. If you don't feel any, you might be able to reuse it. But yeah. So now we're gonna take our rings off, and we're gonna do it on our rear cylinder because, again, the hottest cylinder of them all. So we're gonna take the rings off, and we're actually gonna measure the gap. So we'll show you how to do that here in a second. Alright, I got the rear piston here, and I'm gonna take the rings off. I am reusing these rings. Again, get new ones. They're not that expensive, but I'm broke, so they are. So one of the things you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to be as careful as possible when doing this. You literally just pry it up and then rotate it off. You're just gonna rotate. You're not gonna pry up anymore. Just rotate off. That's all you do. That's all you do. And you want to note the orientation of the ring, because they do marry themselves to the cylinders. So usually there's a little dot on them, but not on this guy. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the pen, I'm gonna mark it. So now we know white is up. So, to be able to measure the ring gap, you shove it in the piston, or the cylinder, like that. then you rotate it down. Then you can take your piston. I'm going to take my old pistons because they don't have any rings on them. And lightly tap it down until it's flat. Because you want a flat ring in there. You're not trying to measure out an angle. So flat is key when measuring these guys. So now you can see we've got the ring in there and it's nice and flat. And you always want it facing the right way. So now you take your feeler gauges. Now I'm going to start at 5 thousandths, just cause, which is way too loose. So I'm going to go up to 9 thousandths. Still way loose. So this part is a lot of feel. So the one thing, so in school what they did is they had us measure good ones and measure bad ones, and we could tell the difference in the feel of them. And so I'm just continuing to go up in size until I get the right size. And you want to go at a straight down angle. And what you're feeling for is a little bit of a drag. You don't want a lot of drag. You don't want to be pulling that ring up. But you want to feel a little bit of a drag. You don't want it to be loosey-goosey.
Is that the technical term? Loosey-goosey?
Loosey-goosey?
Yeah. Technical term is loosey-goosey.
Oh yeah, no, we've been using that loosey-goosey term for a very long time.
That's
You
awesome.
just about find it in the back of almost every manual.
Oh yeah. Harley says it themselves. So, I'm starting to feel a little bit of a drag at 0.021.
0.021? She should. Is that your wiper ring?
That's
Or
my
your
main
compression?
scraper.
So, what should you be at?
I haven't looked in the book yet, but
I think it's going to be somewhere around 22.
22?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll try 22 and see.
Which would be awesome if it is, because that means them rings haven't seen much wear.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of drag out of 22. It's a little bit, not enough for me. I like a little more drag than that.
So you lean towards more of the loosey-goosey end of things? Like the glass half full? Just messing with you. I'm gonna leave.
Oh, you're good. That's funny.
I actually want to come in and be the guy. Like, pop in there.
Yeah, so
you know
it's...
which one that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a real guy.
Oh, yeah,
He
right.
actually did that.
So it's 23 then? Or 023?
Yeah. So here, you try it. See how it feels.
Okay.
So you know how it should feel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, see, it's got a little bit of a drag, but
Yeah, so
it's not pulling the ring out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty tight in there, but like you said, it's not pulling the ring up. You guys can see that, so. Cool.
Yeah.
And that is, there you guys, 0.023. So, like you was just saying, his boss, 0.22 is normal, or that's what it should be at.
Yeah,
So,
so
that means these are pretty good.
3 is pretty darn good. Yeah, So one of the things I like to say about these Harleys is they're tractor motors. That's what I learned from my boss, who was just here. He calls them tractor motors because, well, everything's pretty much 10 thousandths. As long as you're within 10 thousandths, you're just fine. So obviously we are, so we're good to go.
Cool.
This is it. Okay, so as you can tell, this is the compression ring gap, and so just like what he said, my boss said, looks good. So we're right at the wear limit. In reality, I probably went a little tight on it, so we'll probably just fine. Here's the wear limit, so that's too much there. So we're just fine. We are okay.
Alright, I'll keep recording. Or go ahead.
Oh, you're recording?
Yeah. So if we break the ring, no pressure.
Thanks, bud.
It's his first day, guys. I don't know if I told you that already. It's his first day.
Yeah. Don't
Easy.
like how she's going on there, bud.
It's because I'm recording, huh?
Exactly. Oh, there we go. Alright,
So from a mechanic's point of view, is it better to put the opening on opposite sides so oil doesn't come through?
Yes. So that's one of the big keys. So inside your service manual, it's going to tell you how to orient these rings. So what you're going to do is, so you see the gap here. You've got the gap. So usually, now I'm not always right in this, but usually it's quarter turns. So you've got gap here. You've got your second ring, your scraper ring, and you're going to put the gap over here. I like to put it a full 90 degrees away from it because, well, those are your two main rings and you don't want them overlapping. Because if you have them overlapping like this, where you have the gaps in the same spot, well, now all the oil from these oil rings are going to go right through there, and now you've just undone everything you've done. So you want to make sure 90 degrees to each other. That's what I do. Again, checking your service manual. I will be checking in my service manual to see how these are set, and we'll go from there.